welcome to part 2 of our year-end special. As promised, I have a special guest on the line. I have Queen Sheba. She'll be joining us. Queen Sheba is a 2024 Grammy-nominated artist in the spoken word poetry category. Sheba's new album, Civil Rights, The South Got Something to Say, is up for your Grammy consideration in the spoken word poetry category as a 2025 one to watch. Queen Sheba is the founder of Poetry versus Hip Hop, the acclaimed touring stage show and production company currently partnering with City Winery ATL to bring shows across the country. With a master's in poetry from Queen's University of Charlotte, spoken word artist, motivational speaker, comedian, and bathroom concert singer, Sheba tours internationally, has conducted performances and workshops at over 300 colleges and universities domestically and abroad. It's not the first time she's been nominated for a Grammy. Without any further ado, all the way live from Vail, Colorado, getting ready for her Grammy appearance. Ladies and gentlemen, Queen Sheba joins us. What's going on, Queen? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
What's up? Thank you so much for having me, Mark. I really appreciate you.
So, Queen, I'm fired up. I talked to Carolyn Malachi earlier in the show. We're talking about your amazing album, Civil Rights. Civil Rights, get it? I love the album. I was saying I got Carolyn because I told her when I listened to War, it was like listening to a movie. So that shit blew her away because she was like, "That's what I was going for." But I love this album. I've been stalking you on YouTube and watching your performances. And Queen Sheba, you have a lot to say. I like the way you say it. I like, again, you can switch it up. Just so well-rounded. The album not only sonically sounds amazing, what you're talking about is a journey from lust and sensuality. I made my own self moist when I listened to your track and them. You know what you do, and then drama.
It's all suggestive.
It's amazing. So again, and you're no stranger to this. But I think you are. I think in the category you are the only woman and only African American, I believe. Correct?
No, not at all. Everybody's black.
Everybody's black.
Everybody's black. Everybody's black, and I know people who don't know Tank or not familiar with Tank. Tank is a woman. Her name is I'm gonna mess it up. But her name is Tank Bell. That is her it was her poetry name and her like a shortened name. Her name is something a little longer. It's beautiful, but I don't want to mess it up. But her name is Tank Bell, and she started as a spoken word artist and poet in New Orleans many years ago.
Wow.
And she has picked up an amazing career as a singer-songwriter and has gone all over the world to perform with Tank and the Bangers. So she and I are the only women, just like last year, me and Aja Monet were the only women. And so the brothers are Mad Skills, who is a hip hop artist out of Richmond, Virginia. And then we have Omari Hardrick, who everybody knows as Ghost from Power. He started as a slam poet in LA about 20 years ago. And then we have Malik Youssef, who everybody knows from the Kanye albums, early 2000s as well. So everybody started in the early 2000s. Mad Skills is the only one that is from another genre that's coming in. Everybody else was a poet at some point or a spoken word artist at some point. And we're all here. So I think the other three, Malik Youssef has always been a spoken word artist, and he's pivoted off into acting. And of course, everybody knows that Omari Hardrick, has pivoted off into acting. And Tank and the Bangers, she's an amazing singer, songwriter, poet. And then I produce shows and have been a spoken word artist for the last 23 years. So it's a good mix of people. Everybody's different.
I love it. And again, I've known Carolyn for such a long time, and I was just saying that so many of you are more than just what you're famous for. And I love the fact that, again, I've been stalking you after April introduced us, and I've just been looking at your videos. And in fact, I played one of your videos. One of my daughters, who's an artist who also has suffers from anxiety, I played her, and you really motivated her, because I was telling her how a lot of times artists who are so bold and so, again, looking so comfortable and on stage and so powerful, they still may have anxieties. They may have,
Uh,
you know,
absolutely.
and in fact, that probably is one of the drivers for you, why you're so excellent at what you do, because you can express things and feelings that people have, and maybe you don't know how to say it. You can put it to
Yeah.
words, and
Yeah,
so
and sometimes I don't know how to say it, so it's best, written down. I'm better at text message than phone calls, where other people prefer a phone call, because I have time to think about it and think about what I want to say. And it's the same thing with civil rights, and being from the South and making sure that the South has a voice, and making sure that everything is not just New York, New York, New York, New York, New York, New York, New York. We know that hip hop has already kind of taken over the South a little bit, and we as spoken word artists want to be considered when you consider anybody else. So this genre was created for veterans of the spoken word poetry category, so that uh, those of us who have already been doing it for decades, have the edification and acknowledgement from the highest award in music, which is the Grammys,
I
put
love
on
it.
by the Recording Academy. So we're very excited to be here.
And the album is such a great album. I mean, the spoken word's amazing, the music's amazing, the themes, the variety. It really is a smorgasbord of just of artistic pleasure. And, just like I say, it sounds great too.
Thank
I
you.
think um I love the way, not only what you say, but how you say it. I love that. I'm a radio guy, so the shout out you gave to Florida and the radio, and the because you're right, a lot of times, especially nowadays, because a lot of times people don't know their history. Like say New York's not the beginning and end of everything, and in
Right.
fact the South, especially when you're talking about, I mean, storytellers are from the South, so from poetry to, like you say, black radio in the South
Yeah.
go hand in hand. I'm from the Midwest, and I had to go to the South to start my
That's
radio
right.
career, because that's where you
Started
know
Black Radio started in Atlanta at WERD right on Auburn Avenue.
There you go.
So
A lot of
yeah,
people don't know that. A lot of people would not know that. And I love the thing that is cool about the younger generation is when you drop something and your favorite artist or somebody who's hot like yourself says something, at least now people will Google it or AI it and go, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Or they
right.
want to know. My daughter's at Clarke now. She's a sophomore. They want to
Okay.
know. They want to know what, the lady, when somebody says something, they want to know what it means. And so the
Yeah.
good news is you can, when you say something as a poet, which sometimes people, and especially in the old days, if they weren't familiar, they'd miss. Now they'll look it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I even when you shouted out Andre 3000 and Killer Mike, I was like, I was in the kitchen doing something, and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's Mike's
Yeah.
last
Because
name. His last name is."
yeah, they're right in Atlanta, and there's no reason why they're in Atlanta, I'm in Atlanta, that we shouldn't all work together. Spoken word and hip hop are cousins. They're brother and sisters. We should do a record together because it would be cool, because we're all great and amazing artists and lyricists and wordsmiths. And I think it would be amazing. And right now, Atlanta is the mecca capital for music, which is why civil rights, WRITES, is so important, because we are writing. We're not using AI. We're telling our stories. We're talking about where we came from, and our origin stories and our history. And I think we mix a little bit of civil rights with a lot of current events, and I think a lot of Gen X people, students can really relate to the stories. They're like, oh yeah, okay, I know. When this happened, and the sit-ins for Atlanta weren't that long ago. I mean, we just were sitting on the freeway during COVID. We were
Yeah,
just stopping traffic, during COVID. I also shouted out Michael Harriot, who used to write for The Root, who has produced several civil rights, Black history documentaries for BET, and is a political activist and commentator. I also shouted out T.I. because he did a major part while Atlanta was shut down to get people to not riot, to make sure that we were organizing properly. And I think a lot of times those things are overlooked because they might be celebrities, but they didn't have to do that. They could have stayed home. So
yeah,
that's why Civil Rights, the album, is so important. It gives homage to not just the South, but also where we all came from. Because I came from Detroit, and I talk about that. Like, I came from the North, and I headed south, but the South is where I found myself, my voice, my story, and was taught about my heritage and my lineage. And I think that's so important. People think that it's not, but it is. It is super important. So y'all go stream Civil Rights.
Go stream civil rights. And before I let you go, so I love how you switch up your cadence too. Is that coincidence? It's almost like, is that with poets? Is that rap influence or not necessarily? Or because you flip it, and in certain.
Well, I tell people all the time I'm a horrible rapper. I know it might sound like I'm trying to rap, but I'm not. Man, I wish. There's a poet named Black Chakra in Baltimore, like 2 minutes from you,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's an amazing hip hop artist and poet. And I always say I wish Black Chakra would teach me how to rap. But I do. I don't know. I do like things tight. I don't like a lot of fluff words. I don't use a lot of fluff. I don't use and or for see and see. This is why. No, get to it. Get to the meat. And so, and because I wanted to learn to master writing, then I trim the fat and I don't say things that aren't necessary. So sometimes it does sound like I'm rapping, but I'm not rapping. I just tell people I poem really fast. But in other poems, such as War, it does have a different cadence because it calls for a different
Yeah,
narration. It
yeah.
calls for a different type of storytelling. So yeah, for Killer Mike, people always call it South Got Something to Say, but it's called Killer Mike MIC. So for Killer Mike slash the South Got Something to Say track 1 and 10 on civil rights, it sounds like I'm rapping, but I'm not. But the rappers on there are killing it. That's Biddy and Supreme BG. They are the hip hop artists there, and they are doing an amazing job. So I also wrote the hook. So anything that's on the album that is singer related, except for on Footprints, her name is Lindsay. She wrote that. And for future reference, a young lady named Miss Honey Simone, she wrote that. But
Which is
besides
the
that,
dope. That's the dope track. The
they're getting
future
that.
reference is dope. Yeah, and
Yeah.
War. And so look, amazing, amazing project. Civil rights. The South got something to say. Queen Sheba, two-time Grammy nominated poet. It's going down. I wanted to get you on before the end of the year, and we're sending you all the support that's out there. Support, support, support. If you can vote, 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 vote. And again, thank you, thank you, thank you for giving us some of your time. I know you in Vail, doing what you do in Vail. Go ahead now. Must
So,
be nice.
well, let me tell you something. So my partner was like, "I'm ready for a vacation," and I'm like, "All right, I'm thinking like Jamaica, Bahamas, the beach. We about to, go." She was like, "Yeah, what do you think about Denver?" I'm like, "Okay, Denver's cool. Denver's cool." She's like, "Yeah, let's go up to Breckenridge and Vail and Frisco." I said, "I don't even know what you're talking about." So this is an adventure for me, and as I said on the album, and as I said earlier in this conversation, that I'm from Detroit, so we used to cross country ski a lot. So I have on my thermal
Okay.
gear under my pants. I'm layered up,
Uh,
yeah. So I do want to say though, we haven't skied one bit since we've been here, though.
well, I'm telling you what, the colors are popping. You're looking great, and that let me tell you, that first track now, that first track we're playing.
Killer Mike, Killer. It's
No,
Killer
I'm sorry,
MI.
the second track, the
Oh,
sensual track.
for future
Yeah,
reference, yeah.
yes,
For
yes.
future reference, yeah. Miss Honey Simone wrote her hook. That's actually a song she has called "Gamble," and
Okay,
then another woman producer. Her name is Linnea White, and she goes by Triumph Reigns on Instagram. And she another amazing producer. So I was very lucky to have people like Malcolm Jamal Warner not only produce a track on there, but also make a cameo.
I
He made
love
a
it.
Yeah, he produced a track last year. Robert Glasper produced a track last year. So it was really great, and I learned a lot being at the Grammys earlier this year when I ran into Carolyn again. I was like, let's work. And
I
I'm
love
not a
it.
Hollywood type person. And so when I got back from LA, I hit her up and I was like, let's go. So I went up to DC and recorded with her, and we started on this journey. And I she told me she introduced me to Matt, and he is the one who mastered the entire album. He did an amazing job, and I'm very lucky to work with the people that are on the album, including so many biddies. Supreme BG, Matt, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Linnea White, Carolyn Malachi, D Bots from Houston, Brenda Lynn, Lindsay, who is a singer, Kim Joyce, another woman producer
Yeah,
out of Detroit, Michigan. So I mean, the album is full of of people that you may not know, but they're extremely talented. Not even but, and you may not know
And
them, but they are extremely talented, and in there, it's just incredible. And I'm happy to introduce them to the world if you don't know them. And if you already do know them, I'm happy to reintroduce them because this project came out magical. And I'm really looking forward to, whatever God has in store for me on February 2nd, if it's to win or a lesson learned, but I'm definitely wanting to go for gold this year.
Queen, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Okay, much support. All right, have fun on those slopes.
Thank you so much. We're
All
going
right,
tubing tomorrow. That's all I got is
all right.
tubing.
Get some cocoa for us. Take care. Queen Sheba, again, future Grammy winner, and joining us as we wrap things up on the Allison Mark podcast. Take care, dear.